everyone. Welcome to the Modern Day Gamer. I'm Eric, and as you can see, if you've been with me since my very first video, this is a different location. This is my mom's house, um, and I just wanted to talk about Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I've done a lot of thinking after I've seen it about a week ago. I usually give the movie about a week because when I first see it, it's a Star Wars film and I love it because I am a huge Star Wars fan. Now, I talked to my little brother who saw it with me. My mother said, "Hey, Zach wants to go see a movie. Do you guys want to go see The Last Jedi? I'll pay for the tickets if you buy the popcorn." So I was like, "Sure, yeah, that sounds great. You know, that's instead of $40, it's only $20 or whatever." And so my mom paid for the tickets, and we went and watched it. And initially, I walked out going, that felt more like Episode 6 than it did Episode 5. It felt more like it had ended. And a week later, I have come to the conclusion that Star Wars Episode 9 needs to be the best Star Wars film ever to redeem Episode 8. Now, Episode 7, I did not think was terrible. I know a lot of people were saying, well, Episode 7 wasn't that great. Episode 8 wasn't that great. So this trilogy is dead. Episode 8 killed this trilogy. And Episode 8, as it stands right now, it feels like the trilogy is killed. Episode 9 really is, like in the title of the video, our last hope. They did a great job with Rogue One. Although the characters I didn't really connect with, the story was good and it was there and it was Star Wars. And the Darth Vader scene at the end was amazing. Whatever. I think that with Episode 7, they did a decent job of a soft reboot. They went the safe route, and that's totally understandable. Probably would have done the same thing if I was in his shoes. Just go the safe route. Start off the way that Star Wars fans from years ago remember, and start off right. And they did, and it felt good. And at the end of 7, there were so many questions to be answered. Who is Snoke? Who are Rey's parents? Who are the Knights of Ren? Where is Luke Skywalker? Like, what planet is he on? Why is he there? Is he going to train Rey? Why is Rey so powerful? Like, what's her lineage? All those kind of questions. And it seems like in Episode 8, all of those questions were just kind of thrown out the door. I have a really big problem with that. I think that in order for Episode 8 to have been better, they need to have strayed away from her parents' lineage completely, where Kylo was trying to get her to not focus on that, and she kept trying to ask the question, and then whatever. This whole scene where she went down and then was like, show me my parents, and then she only saw herself. That scene was dumb. Take it out. Like, it looked pretty, but it was dumb. Take it out. It was boring. Especially whenever you find out that the reveal was this big nothingness, and she had just wasted 10 minutes of the film doing this kind of bullcrap. And I really didn't like that. I think that the best scene in the whole movie could have been way better. The best scene in the whole movie, to me, was the film part where Kylo and Rey were in Snoke's chambers. That whole scene all the way up until Kylo wakes up and Rey is gone. That scene was really good. It was really well done, and it felt very Star Wars-like. I loved the teamwork. They should have had Kylo unite with Rey. Snoke should have been a hologram. He shouldn't have been there. And he should have sent, basically been like, you're not worth my time to kill, and then sent his guards. And I think that Rey should have been beat up on severely, especially in the first film. I think Rey should have lost handily to Kylo, being saved by Princess Leia. If you want a strong kind of dynamic that way, then have Princess Leia save Rey and basically teach Rey how to fight. And that way Rey has some fighting knowledge. She knows how to use a blaster, all that kind of stuff. And then Rey goes search for Luke. I think that Rey is too strong, too much of a Mary Sue, like a lot of people say. I think that is totally true. And any, feminist, sexist, whatever you want to say about it, she's too strong. Star Wars universe does not have the same political issues that our universe has. People go to Star Wars to not have to deal with the real world. And when you interject real world issues into the Star Wars universe, people don't want to watch Star Wars anymore. And you're going to drive away a lot of fans doing that. And I think Disney really needs to rethink their whole Star Wars universe thing. I mean, really, they need to have an excellent Episode 9 or it's not going to work. But like I was saying in that scene, I think Rey should have been beat up on. I think Rey should have been just her butt handed to her by those guards because she has no formal training with the lightsaber. So what? We saw her in a scene where she was slicing at a rock. That's not impressive. It's a rock. I could do that with a freaking katana if I wanted to. It's not that hard. And then she goes in there and she saves Kylo Ren. And while, yes, it looked like she was struggling pretty hard, I think she should have just been knocked out for the remainder of the fight. And I think we need to see Kylo Ren exhibit some Force abilities. In that fight, yeah, lightsaber is cool, right? But everyone wants to see the Force. Like, what can the Force do? I think that just to make Episode 8 feel better, Snoke doesn't die. Leia dies on the ship whenever she's shot out. I think Leia should have died that way, and that's what should have spurred Luke to come and save the Resistance and not Rey or R2-D2. And then I think that during that scene when Rey is knocked out, just in the way I would have done it, Rey would have been knocked out. And as she's getting killed, we see Kylo reach out with the Force and use this guy's body and just break it, just snap. You can hear and see the spine snap. And just throwing him into a wall, and everyone attacking him and while he's trying to save Rey, they knock his lightsaber away, so he's forced to use Force abilities against these guys and dodge their attacks. So he's taking them out using super strong Force abilities. Maybe he uses his Force freeze and then snaps a couple of their necks. Like, I don't want to see him use his lightsaber in this scene. I think for a little bit, take out a few of them, and then Rey gets knocked out, he saves her, and then it's the Force. The Force is super cool, and they need to explore it more in these new movies. That scene was excellent, though. Either way, it would have been really good. They should have had Snoke be a hologram, for sure. And I'm still not sure and convinced that Snoke is dead. I think Snoke is going to do kind of a Star Wars Legends thing where he has clones of himself and he just transfers his consciousness, which is really cool. I think that would work pretty well. And then with the whole end scene with Luke, I think that they should not have killed Luke off. I really do think keep Snoke alive, keep Luke alive. I think Luke should have been there on that crate. I think it was called the planet Crate. And everything should have played out the way it was. And then Kylo comes in and wants all the firepower. And you see that part and you go, oh my gosh, he is the strongest Jedi ever. Right? And he stops all these blaster bolts. And it's really him. And then Kylo comes through and the whole scene plays out. And Luke still dodges and looks super awesome doing it. And we know that he's there because he's making red marks. And then Kylo does run at him and slice through him. But it doesn't kill him. Luke's able to take the lightsaber energy and disperse it around him. That way we would know, like, oh my God, this dude is the strongest Jedi to ever live. Because no other Jedi could have taken a lightsaber to the gut and just like been like, whatever. And then whenever that happened, Kylo should have went at him and Luke should have, without a lightsaber at all, just force pushed him way far away. And whenever Kylo is raging mad, running back at him, he says, "See you later, kid," and he jumps, just force jumps away towards Rey and the rest of the Resistance, and lands on the ship. And they talk about Leia's death, and they address all that kind of stuff. And that would have been a better memory for Carrie Fisher to leave like that. And then that way in episode 9, you could get a Snoke versus Luke battle. You could get a Rey versus Kylo battle. And yeah, I mean, if you wanted, there's so many different things you could have changed about the film to make it way better. Take out Rey's parents. Take out, I want to know more about the Knights of Ren. Who's going to be the big bad in episode 9? Is it going to be Kylo? Because time and time again, we've seen that he gets beat by Rey. So I'm not worried about Kylo at all. And I'm not worried about the First Order. The Resistance is way bigger than what we have seen. Like, they're gonna have allies in the next one they're gonna build. And what's left of the First Order, obviously Rey's and Mary Sue, she can take on whatever, so I'm not worried about it. It didn't leave me with any questions. It didn't leave me all it left me with was, why did they kill off Luke? Why did they kill off Snoke? Why did they get rid of all of the interesting questions that 7 set up? Because on its own, take out episode 8, 7 is way better. Way better than episode 8. Even though they kill off Han in, I think, a really bad way. I think Han should have died in a much better way. I think Han should have gone out doing something stupid or fighting or sacrificing his life. Instead, he just gets stabbed through the gut by his son. Whatever. There's much more that they could have done, and I think that they should have done. But that's really on Disney now to fix this huge mistake. I'm not saying that episode 8 was a bad movie. It was very beautiful. Kylo Ren is the most interesting character now left in the films. I hated what they did with Luke. I hated that they killed off Luke and answered all the questions so uninteresting, so vaguely. The whole planet where they go and it's like the casino planet, that was stupid. Like, just to show us that some boy was force sensitive. Couldn't you have done that on Planet Crate? Couldn't you have had, minors on Planet Crate, and then they found these kids, and they were force sensitive or whatever? It really didn't answer any questions really well at all. And I think Episode 9 really is going to be our last hope. And I wish I could go back and change it and make the story what Star Wars fans want. Because Star Wars fans, they want Star Wars. They don't want political drama. They don't want all of their favorite characters being killed off. Wouldn't we all rather have George Lucas back at the helm anyway? Because at least he wouldn't have changed the rules up on us. And that's kind of there's just a different dichotomy to the way these films work. And I think overall, if Episode 9 isn't the best Star Wars film we've ever seen, Star Wars has no future and no hope in terms of trilogy movies anymore, unless they go before the Clone Wars. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and leave it a like. If you disagree with any points that I made, go ahead and tell me down in the comments below. If you have different ways that you would have fixed it or what you would do to make Episode 9 at least more interesting and more compelling to watch than it is now, let me know. If you're new, subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.